And so I really want to thank everyone for joining Jerry and myself this morning to talk about the UH application. I know it's kind of a hot topic because there's just been a lot of issues happening with the application. And believe us, actually, Jerry has been working really hard in just sort of navigating through all the challenges that the campuses is going through. And so by having this opportunity to talk to you all is actually super helpful. Um, and let me see. Before maybe if I dive into this, the details of the application, Colleen did bring up an interesting tactic that I wanted to maybe sh- share with all of you. And so originally when I made the video, and granted it's probably old right now because as I'm learning new things about the application, it's not highlighted in that tutorial I made like months ago. But when I made the video, the intent was students can watch the video, maybe do the app, pause it, continue with the app, pause it, and then whatever. What I didn't realize was a lot of students, and forgive me for not even having this on my radar, a lot of students are doing the application on their phones. And so to toggle between a YouTube video and the app is actually a lot harder. And I didn't realize, I mean, after Colleen shared that, I thought, oh, duh, yes, a lot of students are doing stuff on the phone. So the the suggestion was made to have a like a hard copy document with screenshots. And I don't know if Hawaii P20 made something similar, but anyway, but I could make like a hard copy document screenshot so that as they're on their phone, they're looking at this hard copy and they're able to toggle that way. And so maybe if in the chat, um, you could share if that is something, if that is something worth, like a tool worth having for students to have on hand so that as they're navigating, they can toggle between their phone, which is funny to me, is like they can toggle between their phone, which is high tech, and sheets of paper, which is low tech. So anyway, um, what are your thoughts on that? Like having a hard copy cheat sheet for the application? Okay, I will. I'll do that. I'll do that. I still have my active app, and actually, I'll show you this. So, um, forgive me for going through the app. I think some of you may have seen this already, but I'll just go through it once again. And as I'm going through, please, um, between Jerry and myself, like we're both kind of jotting down notes on what your feedback is. And this is an opportunity to be 100% honest. I mean, I guess I was half joking when I said this could be a vent session because we need to hear it all. Because at the end of the day, if your students are struggling, that's no good. And so if you're noticing things that are not jiving with your students, please let me know. Students don't have printers. Okay, good to know. Um, okay. Oh, so if we had these, hmm, I'm gonna make a note of that. So if students don't have access to a printer, okay. Uh, me uh, printer. Okay, sorry, I'm just taking notes and talking at the same time. Um, right. Okay. So I guess some of the questions that are coming in the chat, if it's can they view PDFs on their phone? I think they can. I think the tricky part, and I don't know how efficient it is, but it's how to toggle between the PDF and app. But um, these are good. These are good things to think about. Okay, so this is not to pick on Monica, but when the issue we had a couple of days ago is, so she tried creating an account, and let me share the path that I believe she went through. So she and Monica, correct me if I'm wrong. So she Googled the Kapi Olani or the community college app, got to this screen, went to how to apply, clicked on admissions, and scrolled down, and let's see, okay. Scroll down and clicked on online application form and came to this site. What Jeri and the what Jeri and the app team discovered is, for whatever reason, it went to an older application site. And so the best way we was able to address this is to make sure students go directly to apply.hawaii.edu. When they get to this site, as you all know, they would select whatever campus and then start to create an account. And so let's say you then click on Kapi Olani, and here you are signing in for an account. So you want to create one. It doesn't come up a lot, but it comes up enough for us to just be concerned. And so when students create this account, you want to let them know that this is their username and password for just the application. It is not going to be their email address or whatever like that. So it's just an account for the application, and they still need to keep this information in a safe place in case they want to refer back to it, or maybe between Jerry and myself, we had told them, oh, we want to know how you filled out this one area. Could you let us know what you completed? And so that way we can maybe troubleshoot that way. So anyway, they create a username and password. I'll show you mine. So a couple of things that happen with students that I've been working with. They would get to this ad program, and I actually was working with a senior yesterday. So when he got to this page, he thought he had to start picking classes here. And so I guess with the terms that we're using, maybe he just got a little bit mixed up. And so when we were meeting over Zoom and I explained to him that this is more like your degree, then it kind of clicked. However, if you notice in my page, it says there's no programs available. So this is the tricky part, and I cannot put my finger on how to make this more efficient, because before it used to be log in, log out, and it'll populate. One time I just went to my application, and then I just looked at my information, went back to a program, and then it would populate. And so it's more like tricking the system. But anyway, even though I have, and sorry if I'm going back and forth. So even though I have actually KCC on my application, it's still showing all the degrees from all the CCs. And so what I was instructing that senior to do was go into filter, click on campus, select Kapi Olani, close, and then they will list everything. And that's where they want to maybe update their program. So that was one issue that came up. But anyway, if I go back to the very beginning, when they log in, when they create their account, more than likely they're going to see like this profile page. They're going to ask for a name, contact information, this text and phone authorization in case they put a cell number, if we send out messages to them that they're okay with it, create a username and password, this European Union data protection information, and they click save changes. From that point, it'll take them to something that says, about this degree goal. Now, this is another place where students get hung up with. So this degree goal question was mainly to target students going into any kind of like dual credit program. And so this is where like Jeri and I are requesting to the UH system team, saying if there's any way they could use wording that they're most familiar with, like early college, running start, dual credit, blah, blah, blah. Because when people are reading this, they don't quite understand it. And so when I meet with seniors, it's like, okay, are you planning on taking college courses in spring 2021? No. Then you want to check no for degree goal. And then when they scroll down, this part is a little bit misleading too, is the CCs only have associate's degrees. And so you want to let them know the highest you can check is associate's degrees. I was kind of working with Monica in this because I did bachelor's degree just to see what would happen. But it was weird because for another student, when she checked bachelor's degree, all her program listings were blank. And we thought it was because she checked bachelor's degree. But when Monica and I went back the other day and checked bachelor's degree, it listed all the degrees that were out there. So I don't know if it's a application glitch, but to be on the safe side, check associate's degree as the highest, even if they're like thinking of a certificate. Check associate's degree as the highest, select one campus, and then finish all the rest. What's really, I don't know how I feel about this, but you can actually check all the blocks here. Even though at the bottom it says this change of home institution statement, it's kind of misleading because this statement is saying you only get to apply to one. And if you made a mistake, you have to submit this form, but yet you're able to check multiple campuses. And so when you're working with students, maybe, in fact, if you can, just have them check one. And as a side note, if they're wanting to take courses at multiple campuses, they can easily do that through STAR. So when they go to their new student orientation at whatever CC that they're going to, they will just need to let their counselor know at their orientation saying, you know, I want to take 2 classes at Windward, 2 classes at Honolulu. How do I make that work? And then the counselors can show them how to do that. The only caution, and this is all on us on the CC side, like if they're getting financial aid, we just have to make sure that they're taking the right amount of credits at the institutions that's issuing their financial aid. And so at all the orientations campus wide, that conversations will happen. And so again, if your student is thinking, well, I really want to mix and match my classes, I mean, that's totally fine. They do not have to submit another application. All that can be addressed at whatever CC orientation that they're attending. Questions, like if you want to throw it in the chat, if you want to unmute yourself, if you have a question for me, if you have a question for Jeri, let us know. Anything at the moment. My boss told me I have to wait like 10 seconds. Like there's a 10-second pause. And I'm not even counting 10. Anyway, okay, moving right along. So another thing that comes up quite a bit, if you look at this 625-729-7290 number, you see it on this top right corner over here as well. Students think that that's their UHID number. It is not. What it is, it's like when you're trying to track your shipping, it's like that. It's like a tracking number. And so when we were trying to troubleshoot with some of our student applications, we would ask for the CAS ID, and that would help Jeri kind of locate where that app is and kind of go from there. So it's not a UHID number. It's more like a tracking number for the application. And so just let your students know that, because if they're saying, oh, I'm ready to take the Ed Ready, I have my UHID number, it's on the top of my application, more times than any, that's not the number. And so if they're wondering when they're going to get their UHID number, it's usually in their acceptance email, which actually can be tricky because we're not sending out accept letters yet for fall. And so if you have students who did indeed successfully submit their application and got a confirmation email, and I'll get into that a little bit, then that's where I can help you folks get their UHID number so that they can start their placement test process. But if they're going through this app and they just if their eyes go straight to this CAS ID, that is not the UHID number. So you just want to let your students know that. Okay, so when we dive into the application, this is where, sorry, this is where I think most of you are familiar with. They go through the personal information, and this is where they really need to read through it carefully. This is where the app fee may go away, or it'll still be posted on their account. What it does, it's like gosh, what do they call it? Smart logic or something like that. So the way you answer one question, it creates another question below it. And this is more on the residency portion. So depending on how you answer the first one, the second question may change. How you answer the second question, the third question may change. And so they just need to read each question very, very carefully. I'm working with a returning student right now. She attended KCC, I think it was like 2018. She worked, she's coming back. So when she was doing this, she might have answered one of the questions wrong, and it's charging her $25. And so she didn't submit it yet. And so she went back into her application, read through the residency question, submitted it again, and then the $25 fee went away. So this is a very important piece. One, if you all remember from those application workshops we've done in the past, is this: when did you claim legal residency? So again, it's their date of birth or the day, the month, day, and year that they moved to Hawaii. Jeri, correct me if I'm wrong. So for residency, again, it's paying Hawaii state taxes for 12 consecutive months, showing physical presence in Hawaii for 12 consecutive months. So if they're able to demonstrate that, then should be good to go. But if you are finding students are still hitting that $25 app fee, more times than any, it's this page right over here that they're not answering something right. So to Lauren's question, military. So you do have this military information over here. So this is more for the guardian or whoever's paying. But if you go to the residency part, what I notice is that through the smart logic, there will be a question that will ask about being military dependent. And so they definitely want to read through all of this over here. Or there you go, right over there. And so if you say answered yes to that, then more questions will appear. And what will happen at the end of this app, that's an opportunity for students to upload their orders, the military orders, the guardian's military orders. And I'll get into that a little bit. So military dependence, good question. It'll come up in this part. And so again, they will need to read through this very carefully, hit save and continue, and it'll go on to the next portion of the app. Any questions so far? That I know I skipped a whole lot of sections in that particular area, but it's pretty straightforward. The residency section has the most hangups, and so it's getting to that part. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but making sure they read everything carefully. Again, just kind of read through all the follow-up questions that come up, and then more than likely the $25 will go away. When I was working with this other student, the reason why he was still being charged $25 is because the parents are, I think, physically here, but they're like diplomats. So they're not paying Hawaii state taxes. And so even though they're physically here, tax-wise, they're not contributing to the state. So that student's classified as non-resident, even though they're attending a DOE school. So we're always looking at the student's guardian. And so if the guardian is not contributing to the state, then they're going to be non-resident. So then you go through the academic history. I think you guys are all familiar with this. I think there's a new feature where students can connect, for the DOE students, they can connect their high school transcripts. So this is very helpful. But if anything, they want to at least do their English and math coursework, because we will potentially use that for placement into our writing and math courses. And so you want to make sure that they do this very carefully. But if they do that sort of data retrieval like option, it should populate automatically. But if not, they can just type it in as best as they can. And gosh, between you, me, and the cyber world, we've been leaning on integrity and honesty, and so it's been working out well. And so rarely do we ask for students' high school transcripts to verify. And this also goes with the, where did it go? The high school GPA. We will just kind of honor that too. So let your students know that. If they are, I would say, so the question was like, what if maybe if some courses are in progress, input what you can. And so in this particular case, if they finished like Q1 senior English, please put that in there. We'll use that as a um, as a marker. And for us, do we put to? You can maybe do one that has the quarter grade, and maybe another that is in progress. For us, it's more like a reference in case we have questions about their placement. Because what we also will look at is their, I think it's over here. Because for us, it's looking at their course grade and or their high school overall grade point average. And so what we try to do is we look at everything that's submitted: ACT scores, SAT scores, high school GPA, math and writing courses. So we're looking at everything to determine a placement. Now, if we find that like none of them meet the placement into, say, English 100 and our math 103, then that's what we'll ask them to do our Ed Ready, which is free. So all these scores are for us to see if we can place them directly into a college level math and English course. And so if that's not the case, I would say not to worry. We can have them do Ed Ready, and we'll see how those results. We'll see what those results show. Even for students who may see, we're bad test takers. Like in high school, it's just a bad test taker, but I really love math. The Ed Ready may support that, because the nice thing about Ed Ready, and this is sort of a separate conversation, it's a free online placement test that can be done at home. And so the pressures of, like, say, the ACTs and SATs are not there. And so maybe in that element, they can do their best and show a score that's more in line with what they were finishing in high school. And so I think Ed Ready is a good option too. And with that said, so if they did do really well in high school math wise, and this is more like a math thing, and let's say the GPA is really high, SAT scores are really high, ACT scores are really high, we can still only place them into math 103. So they would still need to do our Ed Ready to see if they're eligible to take college level trig or calculus. And so sometimes we just have students do Ed Ready anyway, just so that now we have sort of a wide range of options as far as where to place them in math, if anything. Any questions about that? So this is where you would submit your standardized test. If students don't have it, there's an option at the bottom where you're not submitting, which is totally fine. If you have students that want to submit it later, you can leave everything blank and maybe just email those scores to me and I will upload it. What I need to see are the test results for English and math, or I think SAT calls it the evidence-based reading and writing. I need to see that and the test, the test date. And so I need to see the scores and the test date on a form that has the student's name on there. Like I've had students who would just email me scores with really zero reference, but so I didn't accept those. So as long as I see like either the screenshot or a printout scan of their ACT and or SAT scores, that would be super helpful, and I can easily upload that into their record. So they don't really have to go through this part here if that's a hang up in their application process. So then we go to the programs, and like we saw before, You can easily narrow it down by going through this filter. Safe to just go by campus only, because once you start all this other stuff, it can get a little bit muddy. So if it's Kapi Olani, you can just do that and then look at all the degrees that are there. And so you want to make note on the term, start term, spring or fall. So if you're working with your seniors, definitely check fall, and you just check that box over there or that X, and it will link it to the student's account. Um, Maybe not application related, but if you have students interested in our select programs, like all our health programs, nursing, new media arts, have them check liberal arts first. And so if you want to search through that, so liberal arts, just choose the generic one. A common problem that does come up is they'll choose the liberal arts art. So we actually have a liberal arts art concentration, and these are for those who are going into, say, fine arts after KCC. So you want to find where are you? Here, just this generic one. And the reason why we have these in place is when they are at their new student orientation, if they're pursuing, let's say in my case, I check liberal arts pre-psychology, they're, and this all makes sense when you actually see it, when they're in their STAR account, it will only show courses that are going towards a particular concentration. So in my case, when I say register at my new student orientation, it's only going to show me all my pre-psychology requirements. And so instead of my social sciences being wide open, it's only going to show what's required for psychology. It's the same for like pre-business. Here, liberal arts pre-business. In my, say, elective requirements, maybe even my social science requirements, it's only going to show econ and like accounting, because we want to make sure students are on track to whatever goals they set for themselves. Like with any student, they're going to change their mind, I think like 4 or 5 times. So if they, like with that senior I was working with the other day, for now he's thinking business, but his option 2 is actually social work. So what he's going to do in his first semester is just kind of take some safe classes that will cut across 2 degrees, and then do a little bit of homework to see, what might be a best fit for him, social work versus business. And then maybe in his second semester, he'll take courses that are more specific for that particular end goal. But let your students know that whatever they pick now, they're not held to it. And so they can change their major at any time. It's just a matter of reaching out to their counselors at whatever CC they're attending. And then we can walk them through the process on that whole career exploration piece, and then change their major based on what was discovered in those exercises. Any questions about this? Any at all? There was, so that student that emailed me about this ad program, and what was a minor freakout moment when Monica ran into that one application problem is he had to, so his screen was all blank. And so we had to kind of toggle between things. In fact, we had to go back into the ad program, do the filter, and everything just kind of populated. The part that I guess for Jeri, myself, that makes us cringe at times is that is not a student issue. It's like an application issue. And it's almost like, how do you tell a student who may be new to college to trick the system to make it work? And that's the part that uh, frustrates me a little bit, because I mean, I toggle, like I mess around with this site because I'm familiar with it, I'm comfortable with it. But you ask a 16, 17-year-old who's never done this in their life to toggle between that to trick the system. I have concerns with that. But hopefully, moving forward with all the input that's coming from the field to those who are managing this application, maybe they'll get some of those glitches taken care of. But at any point, if you guys have situations like that, you can always email me, have your student email me, have their families email me, and we'll try to just kind of troubleshoot through all that stuff. Anyway, okay, so back to, so you go through all this, supporting information, documents. This is going back to Lauren's question about the military documents. This is where they can upload their military orders. Now, the orders have to reflect the active military personnel and their dependents. So on the sheet, what we're looking for is Rear Admiral Jeri Enokawa, and then all the dependents. And so if the name is on there and we see that they're stationed at Schofield, then it's like, okay, then good to go. If we don't see that, then we'll follow up with asking them for just additional documents. They may, I think if they push through, well, there might be a hold on their record preventing them from moving forward until we get those military orders in. And so they can upload it here, or they can send it directly to, say, me or Jeri, or the admissions records office, sorry, to upload manually. But this is where, like, if your students wanted to get everything done in one shot, this is where they would put maybe like their health docs, military docs, whatever, so that they can kind of, it sort of expedites the process, maybe cuts out a little bit of a middle, like a middle person, the middle process. But if you're finding that them uploading the documents is slowing down the application process, they can just down here, I think there was an option here before I did this, saying opting out to submitting documents so that we can process it, generate a UHID number so they can continue on with their next steps. And again, you can reach out to myself to submit documents after the fact. Then you get to the submit application. If everything worked out well, then this total fees should be zero. If you see here, it looks like for me, I applied for the spring term, but you want to make sure that everything is correct, or the student needs to make sure that everything is correct. They hit submit. And what happens, I didn't submit my application yet, but what happens, they will get a confirmation email from this program called Liaison. And that is evidence that their application was submitted. What happens a lot is students will tell us, oh, I'm done. But when I reach out to Jeri and her team and say, oh, no, Kuilei Naba said she submitted her application, but we don't know, they will look in the queue. If they don't have a legit application in, more times than any, they didn't hit submit. And so when we go back to the student and we say, oh, Kuilei, did you get a confirmation email? If they did not, then we have them go back into the account, just double check on everything, and then hit submit. So when they hit submit, then an email gets kicked out to them. Again, a reminder that whatever number they see on that confirmation email is not their UHID number. The UHID number will come from the campus. And so if they say, okay, I did my application, all is well, I want to take my Ed Ready now, I'm going to use that CAS ID to take the test, tell them, hang on, that might not be your UHID number. Let me follow up. And then that way we can make sure they're doing their next steps efficiently and correct. But that is the application in a nutshell. I know there has been a lot of concerns, and I think like I said, Jeri and I are taking notes. And so if there are any concerns at this moment that you would like to share, we would love to hear, because if it's happening to your students, it's happening to a lot of others who we cannot reach out to. And I think, Jeri, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that there was an email circulating saying there's about several thousands of student application sitting in the queue. And so we don't know how to get to them. Anyway.
Morning, guys. Yeah, there was reported just this week, there's about 2,300 applications that are still in progress, which means students either just started the process and did not finish, or just didn't hit the submit button. And so cause for concern, because now that we see the in progress apps, and then with everything being down, whether it's applications and enrollment, then it's, I think they just did an outreach yesterday to these students who didn't complete it. So hopefully they go back in and complete it, or maybe they just started the process because someone told them to apply. But yeah, it's both for spring and fall. And we are currently still working on spring. We're still working on the bugs on our end for the processing. And so we probably will be working on fall, hopefully by next month, I hope. And we're still early because, again, the schedules don't come out till March. Registration for fall doesn't start till April. And so I think, yeah, and I'm old school. The first time I saw this, I was like, what is this application? We heard a lot of feedback. They were polling all the community colleges just to see what the initial problems were, and we're all experiencing the same thing. I think the biggest issue was that liaison is based in Boston. So obviously there's a big time difference for their help desk. So while we're sleeping, their offices are open, and by the time our kids got to reach them by, say, 11 o'clock our time, and so our folks, all our admissions people have been fielding phone calls and emails trying to help, whether it's your students or just general population, how to even navigate through this application. So we know it's a little clunky, but we'll get there. And this product has just been launched since July. And so we still have to give it a fair chance. And thanks to Sheldon for even doing a tutorial video for you folks, for all his students. What is this, test optional? What do you mean test optional, Monica? Sorry. I just saw your question, sorry.
So, I mean, that is a great
Okay,
question.
go ahead, Sheldon can answer those.
Yeah. But before I let go, Jeri's point is, yeah, we're gonna just try to do our best, and whatever information you can provide us now, maybe we'll make for a smoother transition for your seniors. And so whatever issues you're finding out, please let us know. And I think Jeri might kill me because I'm just sort of brainstorming at this point. Like, if there's a way we can ask the UH system to see those who are pending, like if they can maybe pull what high schools they attend, that could make a better way for us to help you folks help your seniors. And so, Jeri, I don't know if there's a way you could ask UH if there's a way in those pending applications, if there's a way to get some kind of report that divvies them up by high schools. And so that way I can send a report to, say, Colleen and Ferris guys. I don't know.
Maybe, or I think we can pull up something from our side, but that would help to find out. And I know my clerk Naomi is working really closely with Sheldon and Alfie to find all the dual credit students. And it may not just be them, and maybe you're graduating seniors. I see this question. Yes, the fall 2021 app is up now, but the registration doesn't start until April of 2021. Sorry. And so the application for fall 2021 opens in September, but closes the following August. So it's open, 11 months? So it's really a long application, I guess, period. But again, because we just jumped into liaison, we're still focusing on spring, trying to get the kinks out. And so, plus we're trying to figure out if we're going to make any kind of changes to fall, like with our holds or with orientation and all that. So we just didn't want to start the process, and then internally something changes and we got to go back and do things. So, but yes, encourage your students to apply. It's just that we are focused on spring right now. again, we probably will, yeah, students do get confused with application and registration. All the time. They call our office and ask us, can I register? And then we find out, did you even apply? Oh no. So yeah, they use those two words interchangeably. So even with that, people, we know what that means, but I think with students, and it's not just your new students, it's the ones who sat out and they try and log into their star and they're like, why can't I get on? I said, oh, because you didn't attend for a year. And so you have to actually reapply or we have to readmit them. So, but yeah, you're right, Debbie. Yeah. And I think we try to, I think that's why we put like how to apply just to make it as clear as possible. And of course, then, star would be where you register. So we're trying to, like how Sheldon says, use language that people can, understand. Application deadline for fall 2021 is August 1st. Um, and but normally, if by chance our admin feel like the numbers aren't high enough or we need to get more students in, most likely we'll do an extension, but we won't know that till probably July. And so we'll probably do a call out to all the counselors, especially to Sheldon, to say, hey, if you have more students to apply, maybe we'll extend it to the 15th. But the problem with that is that only gives our office a week and a half or a week to process before school starts. And then we just don't want to set up students to fail because that's just so rushed because these first time students have to go through orientation, placement, turn in health docs, etc. And so those are the ones, some of the last minute ones that we've actually admitted are the ones who's dropping out the first week of school. So it's kind of like we get them registered and then they drop. So, but yes, it's August 1st, 2021 for fall 2021 right now. And again, if there's any kind of extension, then we'll let the campus know.
So
Um,
before I go into Colleen's question, so going back to Monica's question, so the CCs are an open door admissions institution, and so we don't require SCTs or ACTs for acceptance, and so we use those scores only for placement, and so we have students who didn't take the test at all, and so they yeah, so we have them, if anything, do ed ready, and so yeah, we are in open enrollment, so we've got students who don't have a diploma at all, not even a GED. The downside to that is they're not eligible for federal aid, and so to enroll at a community college, it's high school diploma, GED, high set, B18, one of those four, and but in order to get federal aid, it's high school diploma, GED, high set. And so as long as they got any of those things, they're good to go. And again, with the federal aid, they need to do that. So going to Colleen's question, if a student submits an app and change the program, they would need to do like a change of major form, if anything. But to those, and this is where the Jeri and her team is amazing, is that what they do is they look at students who say put like nursing or even like rad tech. They look at their grad date and they just automatically switch them to liberal arts. It may take a while because they want to just do a little bit of homework and making sure that they did not complete any of their prereqs. But more times than any, we'll swap them. But if you are finding students who did it from the gate, it'd be helpful to let us know early on so that we can make that change in the back end. And so if you have a student that submitted an app with one of our select programs, like all the health sciences, new media arts, nursing, and you know for a fact they didn't do any of the prereqs, let me know and we can easily make that switch to liberal arts or to natural science or whatever. And if anything, what we do, the default change would be liberal arts. But if they are thinking, and this is more like maybe not a non-app thing, but if they're thinking that they're toggling between maybe nursing and pre-med, we might have a conversation with them later on while they're at KCC and maybe switch them to natural science. But you folks don't have to worry about that. If anything, if you discover that you have a student that made that error, just let me know and then we'll make the change. So because what we want to do is make sure that they're in a qualified degree path for financial aid. yes, that will affect their financial aid. And so even that, like if you have a student that's selected for whatever reason, undeclared, unclassified, let us know. And then we can switch them to liberal arts, because if they are at KCC unclassified, they're not going to be qualified for financial aid. And by putting liberal arts, they're not gaming the system. And so they need to be in a classified major. A lot of our pre-nursing students will do that. The only student that will be unclassified are those who already received a bachelor's degree, say coming to KCC, wanting to take nursing prereqs before applying to the program. Those guys will be classified as unclassified because they've already received their college diploma. Yeah, their whole financial aid is a whole different thing, but you guys don't have to worry about that. So again, if you have students who made a mistake, put nursing, or in this case, put unclassified, let me know and we can make the switch. And it would be, I know it gets into the area of just personal information, but sometimes when I'm searching for students, I may ask for date of birth. And it's just because, there's a lot of John Smiths out there. There's a lot of Thomas Nguyens out there. So sometimes I may ask for maybe just a birth year. I won't go into any more detail. And that's just so that I can find the correct student in our system. Any so I got the cheat sheet tip. I'm gonna try get on that. I will make a note about students may not having a printer. I'll see. I don't know how I can work around that. On a side note, like, so we at KCC try to do whatever we can in making sure the student has a smooth journey in this whole process. For a lot of our students, this is the first time they're looking at anything college related. And so the last thing we want them to do is get tangled up in sort of I guess the UH journey and trying to figure things out. Or I guess a better for it, maybe bureaucracy. And so we try to do our very best to make your jobs easier, to make the student's job more smooth. And so we try to do our very best to, on the back end, do what we can to make the journey good for both you and your students. And so if there's anything you feel that will help us improve your experience with your students, that your students has a good experience, please let us know, especially with this whole online COVID thing. It's hard to do that one-on-one sessions like we used to do in those classrooms. And so if there's anything we can do to make things easier, let us know. But please, like in the chat, if you want to unmute yourself to voice any concerns that you may have, any changes you see that we need to do. Already we sent, actually Jeri this morning sent this long wish list to UH already. But if there's any more that we need to add, let us know. Anything? No, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for choosing.
But that's pretty much it. I'll wait for a while. You guys are free to log off. I'll keep recording until the last one is here. But thank you again. And if there's other sessions like this you feel are important, let me know. Another big one, I think if there's one on EdReady, I'll be happy to do one on EdReady. This application that was a big one. And I think if any, those would be the two, navigating through the EdReady and then the UH application. Thanks, Wendy. All right.